concluded is my sorry, I'm way too early, dude. I'm out of it. I'm getting out of the sinus infection. Little cold this weekend. Yeah. Flu game, Alex, today week 10 after the Giants got absolutely shit on. And I told y'all they were going to lose by 40, and they did. Hope you guys had a great weekend and are off to a great start to your week. As you know, we always are. Welcome into the All Day Everyday Show with All Day AJ and Manny Ruffin. Great week of football. As usual, we have founder of the Moonshot and our Monday guy, Kenny McAndrews, to break down 3 games this season. What's up, Mooney Gang? In the hoodie, what's up?
What's going on, fellas? How we doing? Alex, I'm sick too, so something's going around. I think it's just the fall weather, the changing of the seasons. I'm not a big daylight savings guy. I need my sunlight, and I think that's just it's throwing the system off because I'm battling it this morning for sure.
I am absolutely with you on that, and I hate when it's 5 o'clock, you get done work, and it's dark, and when you start work, it's dark. It's just a terrible time. But football is here. Week 10 has concluded. We'll start with the first game of your choice, the New Orleans Saints, and another future I have, Kenny, is the Saints to win this division. So kind of on the Bills and the Saints sweat, as they would say. The Saints in Minnesota to take on the now Joshua Dobbs Minnesota Vikings, and he does just that. This is now back-to-back weeks. He's proven that he should be a QB1 in this league, and you said it last week. How many other quarterbacks is he above? I mean, is there 32 quarterbacks better than Joshua Dobbs? I don't know if we can go that far. Big win for the Vikings, 27-19. Initial thoughts on this game? We saw Alexander Madison go down with that concussion late in that third quarter. Vikings trying to stay alive in this NFC North division here, 6-4 after this win, 27-19 over the Saints. What do you got here, Kenny?
I mean, dude, you look at the Vikings team right now. I mean, I think if you had to make a bet on who's going to be the seventh NFC team to squeak into the playoffs, the Vikings have somehow put themselves in a position to have a real shot here. They've won 5 straight. They're now 6-4 in the year. Weirdly, they're 5-0 without Justin Jefferson. So was Justin Jefferson the problem? I don't think so, obviously, but exciting that it looks like he's trying to come back. I think initially when he went down, the team had no playoff aspirations. There was no point in rushing back from an injury. Now it's the Joshua Dobbs experience. The team's got the juice. We could see him as early as next week. And looking forward, they've got an easy schedule. So they're sitting at 6-4. It's hard not to be excited for Josh Dobbs here. The one thing that I want to say on this, though, I don't know if you guys are already ticket holders for this, but I'm seeing a lot of hype on Joshua Dobbs comeback player of the year.
Yes.
I love Joshua Dobbs. I think what's happening here is awesome. It's one of the best stories in the year this year. What is he coming back from? I mean, if it was most improved player or come up of the year, come back, what is he coming back from? He was drafted to be a backup quarterback. He's been a backup quarterback. You can't come back from, no disrespect, but you can't come back from nothing. And I feel like people keep making the comparison to Geno Smith winning it last year. Geno Smith was a high draft pick, was an NFL starter for 2 years, fell off a cliff, was labeled a bust, and then reappeared 5 years later with a new team and took him to the playoffs. That's a legitimate comeback. Mm-hmm. So I don't see it with Josh Dobbs, but again, the books clearly are a little nervous about it. He's down to 400 on certain markets.
Damn.
But it's one that I'm going to have, I think, a lot of debate on if he keeps this up the rest of the year. Because, again, I'm rooting for him. I think it's a great story. It's just, I think comeback player of the year is a stretch. It doesn't really make sense as to what's happening here, but I digress.
I agree, and I'm riding that Aaron Rodgers ticket with you, so I'm hopeful for that. It was crazy to see T.J. Hawkinson get busy like that. If you had that T.J. Hawkinson ticket, good for you. I can only do so much gassing at Josh Dobbs. I'm praying for Derek Carr. He took that big hit. I love Jameis Winston. I love seeing him come in. And I feel so bad for anybody who altered Olave to 100 because he was not getting involved early in the game. Jameis Winston comes in. He starts hitting Olave. He gets the jump ball in the corner of the end zone.
Disgusting.
But then the Jameis experience in full effect with the 2 turnovers of the 2-minute drill. And it's bro, we could have won this game. This game was so big for the Saints, so big for your ticket too. And I feel like they were so close. And this is one of those swing games if they have Derek still to win this game, I don't know, but you just get Josh Dobbs by the Vikings, and that's a crushing loss if you're the Saints.
I think
they got Josh Dobbs.
Yeah,
one of my best calls in my fantasy league yesterday was adding Josh Dobbs yesterday morning, and then taking Derek Carr out and putting Josh Dobbs in. It was a 20-point swing from 25 for Dobbs and 5 for Carr.
Is it W?
But even if you look, we've talked last week about different teams within the run game. We were talking about the Bengals last week with it. We were talking about the Bills last week with it as well. I mean, you look at both these teams with Minnesota and New Orleans. Again, both of these quarterbacks, I guess now you can say 3 quarterbacks in this game, had to deal with this game with little to no run game. You look at the Saints, even just barely Alvin Kamara's getting involved. If he's not getting that 10 to 13 catches a game as a running back, they really don't have a run game. So I'm just surprised that the Saints even fought back to make this a game because I was rooting heavily for them. But for the Vikings, they're 2 games back now from the line. And that's a game that we'll get to later. But if you look at it, a lot of people were writing Minnesota off the boat. We were making them walk the plank. Game was over.
Talk about trade this guy to this guy.
Season's
and
over.
Look, even if they don't catch the Lions, and I think it would be a bit of a stretch. I think they're in the driver's seat to get this last wild card spot, and they've got a dream schedule the next couple of weeks in Denver, home against the Bears, in Vegas. They could be sitting at 9-4. Midway through December. So a lot to be excited about here for Minnesota fans. Good for Josh Dobbs.
100%. Before we head over to this Browns and Ravens game, which was an absolute shit show, let's just chat about a little bit about your tickets for the Moonshot. Reading your tweet here from 3 out of 4 on straights, and Christian Watson cost you a lot of money here. Before we get into that, let's just talk about some of these picks here. Over 2.5 receptions for Kyle Phillips, easy cash at plus 124. Then you had Bijan Robinson, our guy that we just absolutely had a fun time talking about last week, able to get into the end zone. And then another one here, Christian McCaffrey, although he does not get in the end zone, he does have 5 catches at plus 105.
Respect for Shanahan trying to feed him. You love a coach that actually cares about his players like that. I thought that was pretty cool. They at least try.
No touchdown in 17 straight games. It's just unbelievable. First time without it. And then one of the big ones here as well. Kenny McAndrews and the Moonshot love taking tight ends at 25 receiving yards in each half, plus 750 again. This time, it's not Dalton Kincaid, it's George Kittle. Nice little pick there.
Dude, we'd be a lot more profitable if we didn't do anything else and just bet on this market, I think, for the rest of the year, because it's the only thing that's been a sure thing. But that Kittle price just felt too low, man. And
plus 750
again, if you need any justification for some of these, it was plus 750 for 25 each half. And I think 90 plus alt yards was 700. So it's what do you think is more likely? He gets 90 in the game or he gets 25 each half? I just think they give you way too good of a deal on these sometimes. So we got Kincaid tonight. I can already tell you ahead of time. It's a mandatory donation at this point. But they're fun markets, man, and I think they're very generous.
I also want to quickly touch on your under 112.5 passing yards live line for Tommy DeVito.
Just save my afternoon.
Wait, can you just shine some light on DraftKings Sportsbook's winning slips and how ugly they look?
So I've got a couple of friends that work with DraftKings that have done some cool stuff for Mooney Gang, and I've had a few conversations with them, and I spoke with somebody in their marketing team last week, and I gave them this feedback. I said, look, man, as a business owner, my biggest asset is a winning bet slip, and just no bullshit. I'm sorry. Your bet slips are horrible. You look at the FanDuel winning ticket, it is it looks like it's in a shrine. It gives you dopamine. Shiny. It is extravagant. And the DraftKings ones, you have to you need reading glasses to make out what the winning market is. And then on the way they mark them up with look at the DeVito one, right? It's the grossest looking, weirdest ticket ever. Where it takes you a second to figure out what the actual bet is. So. One day they're going to figure out that they got to make these look better so people aren't embarrassed to show them to people. But yeah, man, I got to give love to my brother-in-law. He texted me at halftime and said, yo, this kid sucks. His over-under is 110. How in the world is this not an absolute hammer? And I looked at it for 5 seconds and went, yeah, let's do that. I thought there was a chance they might throw Matt Barkley in there at some point too. So it was sweat-free. He never had a chance. Thank you, Tommy DeVito. Thank you for your Giants for being incompetent. That was some easy money.
I could have told you that. The crazy part of that, the crazy stat, real quick, is 89-17 in the season series. Cowboys Giants 89-17. Cowboys above the Giants. Just a different class, a different world that this team is in. We all knew they were going to get their asses kicked, but a showing like that was certainly not what I wanted to watch at a 425 game. Just making the 1 o'clock game. Dude,
dude, the spread, I think it closed at 17.5, and I'm not too much of a spread better nowadays. But I don't know how the spread wasn't 30.
I know. I agree. I agree.
Like the only scenario where you guys would have covered is if Dak threw like multiple pick sixes. Other than that, like I didn't know how else. I didn't know your guys passed the points.
Yeah, I mean the stat was that the Cowboys now covered the largest spread of the season, which was 17.5. It came up from like 15.5 too. But let's move over to the AFC North. In my opinion, the best division in football. Browns with a top tier defense get this win on not one, but two deflected tip interceptions returned for touchdowns. Defense holds them into the game, gives them a chance to win it for that late field goal. 33-31 for the Ravens. We were talking about this division last week with the Bengals getting a big win over the Bills last week. And the Ravens' upcoming schedule, we're going to have Bengals and Ravens. I believe that's next week. Just a huge, huge division. You saw the Steelers get the win yesterday afternoon as well. What a huge win for the Browns, keeping this conversation alive for their division hopes. Now just one win out from the Ravens. Big win. What do you got on this one, Kenny?
Yeah, man. So this was similar to so you have Ravens Bengals this Thursday. Like that essentially is it's a half playoff game. And this to an extent was the same. I wanted to talk about this one just because it was an outstanding game to begin with, but it was one of the few, I would say, like obscure spots that I got right yesterday. I loved the Browns yesterday. I love the Browns outright. I talked about it on my stream a good amount. Just like if you need one weird underdog money line today, my money would be on Cleveland. And the funny thing was there was like 3 different points in this game where the game was so clearly over and the Browns were so dead. And the fact that they found a way to tough this out and battle back. I mean, it was like, it's got to be the best Browns win in years. Like if you're a Browns fan, I find it hard to believe you've had any wins that are like this with this amount of meaning to it, at least in the last 5-10 years. Deshaun Watson was magnificent in the second half. I don't think he threw an incomplete pass. Kareem Hunt with his 6th touchdown in his last 5 games, which I think is just like slept on. I don't think anyone realized how much they're featuring him down by the goal line. He is a touchdown machine right now. And again, man, like the Browns after this, then they play the Steelers, then they're in Denver, and they play the Rams, and then they're home against the Jaguars. Like the Browns could be very easily sitting at 8-3 heading into December, and that is just a tremendous spot to be in for a team that I don't think has gotten anywhere near the amount of respect that they probably deserve for how good this defense is. And then for the Ravens, it's another game where for whatever reason they just take their foot off the gas. Like they have the ability to score 50 every single game, and somehow they find a way to just completely just stop playing on offense in second halves of games and keep teams alive. And again, I talked about Kareem Hunt. I think the only player with more touchdowns in their last 5 games is Gus Edwards. Fine. He's great by the goal. He's great at the goal line. Use him. He's a big dude. But can we give Keaton Mitchell the ball more? I mean, I don't, it's like Devin A-Chain, where every time he touches the ball, it's 30 yards. He had a 45-yard TD yesterday. I think he had 4 touches for a total of like 80 yards. I don't think he touched the ball in the second half. Like, how does that happen? So if you're a Ravens fan, you scratch your head because this loss is bad. If you're a Browns fan, you're ecstatic. And Ravens, you got to sack up because you have another borderline playoff game against the Bengals on Thursday.
That was the complete collapse on the Ravens part. Like they come out the game with the Pat and Kyle Hamilton blitz pick 6. Let's go. Let's get it going. Keaton Mitchell's getting moving. I had a lot to say about that offense start of the season. They start moving. Like I'm like, okay, maybe I was too late for the Browns defense. Let's see this big game going. Second half, I'll say that Browns defense stepped up and it started, I think, with Myles Garrett. He had a couple plays where he got some sacks, was just moving tackles off the point, like getting busy. It's just, I don't understand what we're doing in the second half, though, for the Ravens. Like, there's at least 4 to 5 different points on offense where we could just put this game away. We have our patented Zay Flowers play we can run. We have Mark Andrews. Like, I don't know what the hell is going on. Keaton Mitchell's highlighted for literally 5 minutes of the game, and that is just a ghost. Like, it's unbelievable. What were you about to say, Kenny?
And then just even like, it's late second half. I think it's 24-17. Browns get a big stop. They're getting the ball back, and then they muff the punt.
Yep.
So at that point, they're like, okay, game's over. Like that was their chance to come back. Former Raven, by the way, a sleeper cell agent, I guess, James Prochet muffs the punt. They make a great defensive stance. 3rd down, they're about to get off the field and only give up the field goal. A BS defensive holding flag extends the drive, and then the Ravens score to put them up 2 touchdowns. Like now the game is 1,000% over. And somehow, some way, the Cleveland Browns find a way.
One thing I will say, too, Njoku was making huge plays, like just big chunk plays. And I thought, like, maybe, like, because you're kind of looking for Amari Cooper had a good day, but you're looking for Amari Cooper in those situations. And it was good to see that they can lean on other guys. There was Njoku, some big runs by Jerome Ford. You see the whole O-line getting to him, push him in the first down. That was a big, gritty win by the Browns. I'm super impressed by that.
Looking at the this AFC North, and we talked a lot about it last week, and the schedule continues for the rest of the season. If you had to look at a winner of this division with it being so tight, obviously content-based question here, Kenny, what are we kind of leaning towards here? It doesn't have to be a solidified answer here, but what are we kind of, where's the early leans on this division of your winner?
It's tough, right? Because I came on the show last week and I was steadfast in my belief that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to the Super Bowl. And unfortunately, that's the game we're about to talk to. I mean, they just lost the game that they couldn't lose. So it's up for grabs. I think gun to my head right now, I think the Ravens still probably take the division. I think if the Bengals are going to do anything, I think they're going to do it via a wild card spot, and then they're going to have to just win a couple extra games in the playoffs here. So I think right now, I think the Ravens to win the division is still a fair bet, but I would be curious to see if, I don't know if books even offer like live division winners, because I think like the Browns are in a really unique spot here. Their schedule is terrible the next couple of weeks here. So I think like, I think my heart says Ravens, but I don't know, man. I think the Browns could do it. I'm not buying into the Steelers. I know they keep winning these gross games. Right. You gotta respect 6-3. I just, my eyes are telling me this team stinks. I can't get behind them.
I cannot get behind this goddamn Kenny Pickett Steelers at all. Let's move over to another absolute banger of a game on Sunday. The Lions win 41-38 against the Chargers as the Lions now move to 7-2 on the year, right behind the Philadelphia Eagles. You know, as a Giants fan, it's tough for me to say this, but I can't even put the Lions in the caliber of the Eagles right now. Is that too far of a stretch to say? Maybe. Personally, I cannot do it. I think the Eagles are well far and ahead of the Lions, but record-wise, you know, you're obviously going to be in that contention there in that conversation. Biggest thing with the Chargers here in this loss, they now move to 4-5, and 4 of those 5 losses are one-score games, other than the one game against the Chiefs where they lost like 31-17 or something like that. But other than that, one-score games. We continue to talk about this Chargers team. One-score game after one-score game, and loss after loss. This team has to step up. Kellen Moore's got to step up. Herbert's got to step up. It's a game we got to win. Fought back. It was a pinball game, all game, back and forth, and the Lions able to come up with that late field goal to win this one, 41-38. Kenny, give us our early thoughts on this big game.
I mean, I don't think anybody coming into this had doubts in how real the Lions were, but it was good to see them get a tough win on the road. I mean, this team is scary in Ford Field. That crowd gets nuts. They're a different team at home, and just for his career, Jared Goff has never been the same player on the road than he is back at home. And good to see him. I mean, he was lights out, 23-33, 333 yards, 2 touchdowns in a game where, again, the thing about the Lions is their offense it's been amazing all year, and it was tremendous last year too, but the crutch has always been the defense. If they were winning games last year, they had to score 35 points. And the difference between the Lions this year is that there's been a couple of games where their defense has won them games where you never saw that from this team last year. And in a game where like it was the race to 40, they had to score 41 points. They got it done. 7-2. The team is as legitimate as it gets. I still have no fear in them whatsoever. It's not that I don't respect them. It's not that I don't think I have a blind spot. I am very confident in how the Eagles match up against this team. I have no fear in the Detroit Lions. And again, this clip can bite me in the ass. It's not meant to be disrespectful. I think they're a great team. They're likable. Dan Campbell's the man. I still think they're an order of magnitude below where the Philadelphia Eagles are.
I 100% agree.
That's what I'm saying. I'm
lit. My uncle's out there that lit for the Lions. Like I'm happy for him, but they can get to that tier. But I think the Eagles win that matchup. Did Jahmyr Gibbs, like you think it's the all Jahmyr Gibbs show, and he was doing his thing too, but then David Montgomery's making crazy plays, cut, making guys fall,
75-yard
and then each other like, yo, what's up with that? David Montgomery's finding his legs. Amon-Ra St. Brown's elite, continues to be elite. The thing you said that I liked the most about the Lions was like they can find ways to win different games. Like that first game of the season against KC, which you thought would maybe be a shootout, was like a defensive grueler, gritty game. Then they come here and show you the ability to win the shootout versus the Chargers, and the Chargers are going to hand you games like... They could have came back. My boy placed the best ticket I saw the day. Keenan Allen live, 2 touchdowns plus 1,900. Gets that. You think, okay, the Chargers going to do their thing. Come back. And I just, like, can they get a stop ever when they need to? Like, I thought they had a defensive coach. We've got rid of defensive coordinators, and it's the same thing every single year. Like, I don't understand going forward, Kenny, or what would you do if you was a Chargers? Because it's the same thing every year. Do we have to get rid of the head coach at this point? Like, what is the answer?
It's this team is too loaded. Herbert is too good, and the hype is too real for this team to continue to underperform. I still thought they should have fired him after he botched the potential tie with the Raiders last year. You remember that? And again, they said after the fact, him calling that timeout changed it. Like if he didn't call a timeout, they were kind of just in limbo. They were going to let the clock go. So I think he should have gotten fired immediately after that game in the press conference. I was pretty surprised to see them bring him back. This team at 4-5 is just an outright disappointment. Now you can say they've been banged up, Eckler's been hurt, yada yada, but like the team is far too loaded, and they've lost just some disgusting games that they've had to win. They're sitting at 4-5. I don't know what to think about this team. And now I don't really know. Like I think we give Justin Herbert such a pass because again the stats are great. And it's easy to point the finger elsewhere. You know, Staley's a loser. He plays for a loser franchise. Loser things are going to happen. But at some point, dude, like you have to go win a game in the fourth quarter, and he just time and time again comes up short. But give him a coach that's not a full blown loser, and see if this team with a new shot of DNA can do something. But man, what a disappointing start to like the Justin Herbert era of the Chargers, because this team has like just top to bottom roster construction. They've got to be one of the most 5 loaded rosters in the NFL, 100%. And they just find ways to trip over themselves every single week.
And we saw a huge game from Keenan Allen in this performance as well. This is his only his third game this season above 100 yards. As a prop bettor, have we looked at all leaning towards maybe, Keenan Allen receptions, Keenan Allen yards, something like that?
Yeah, I mean, the targets are there. 8 receptions, 11 receptions in the last 3. I mean, it's just he's the safety valve, and especially if they're playing anybody that's running zone. I mean, he obliterates zone coverage. So he's automatic every week. I think they usually hang his receptions around 7.5. So if you can get it close to even money, like it's just you bet it until it doesn't hit, and he's been automatic the last month.
Hey, last thing before we let you go here. I know, as we both know you are, and many other people on social media, you're a big Penn State football fan. Can you give us some thoughts about the game? And as a Penn State fan, as a Big Ten football fan, as a Penn State alma mater, what do we feel about Harbaugh and Michigan and this whole scandal?
I don't care about the Harbaugh Michigan thing. I didn't like that they didn't let him go onto the sidelines, and I didn't like how late that they announced it. Only because, and I think Big Cat tweeted this, and it was just to me it was exactly what I felt. If we ended up winning this game, which I had no faith we were going to do anyway, but if we won this game, I feel like it would have given the excuse wagon on the other side, like, oh well, we were dealing with distractions all week, and we didn't have Harbaugh on the sidelines, and this, and it's just like I didn't want any of that. I wanted to beat them straight up, and I wanted there to be no side distraction. So I didn't really care, dude. Go steal your signs. Like I imagine other teams are doing it too. Like to me, it seems like a pretty big nothing burger. Although the story is hysterical when you really start to peel into it. For Penn Staters, I don't really know where we go from here. I'm not even upset because it's the same thing every single year. Like eventually, you stop getting upset when you lose to Ohio State and Michigan because it's all you've ever known. And I've been trying to like have a level-headed view of like the overall importance and value of James Franklin to Penn State, to the university, and to football. I mean, he's been a great ambassador. Like the program is in a better spot than it was when he got here. He's a great figurehead. And my God, he is an absolutely horrific head coach. Horrible. And I just don't know where you find the balance there. Usually the answer is, why don't you get a lights out O coordinator so they can be the de facto game day coach? But we've had one good one, and he went and got a job, Joe Moorhead, and then Franklin's ripped through the other 4. So I don't know where you go from here. He's under contract for the next like 10 years at like an exorbitant amount of money. And I don't know that moving away from him, like I don't know who the alternative is for the next head coach, but he has to be able to give up play calling completely and find an O coordinator that we can lock in for a few years. And my God, like find a way to win one big game. Dude, I'm just tired. Brutal. I'm very, very tired.
I wasn't that pissed off, like, because I thought like that game was gonna go how it went. I was pissed off at the post game interview. Like, come on, dog. He's alive. He's in the crib. Like, we don't gotta cry like that. That just put me on.
Yeah, he said, "This one's for you. This one's for you, Chip."
Come on, bro. Like, whatever.
I just had to ask that as a big Penn State fan, and I did see that Big Cat tweet as well. And although I'm not a Penn State football fan, can easily 110% agree with that, because I know the excuses from Michigan would have been exactly what was tweeted and exactly what you said.
It's just like, hey, it's a great game. Like, I get the Harbaugh is a big story, and it's been like the lead up into the game was pretty heavy. But like, dude, at the end of the day, this is a massive game. Let's just focus on how important this massive matchup is in the Big Ten and in the college football. Within the future of the playoff here. And I just think the Harbaugh stuff, it just took too much attention away from the game, which I guess if you're a Penn State fan is a good thing because you can easily forget about it a little more. But it sucks, man. And I don't know how much is Aller to blame for just unfortunately being like the worst 5-star recruit I guess
Right.
I've ever seen. But at the same time, like, they clearly have training wheels on him because they're afraid to let him throw too much, and this is what you get. So this is a sad Penn State fan who is just no longer has the energy to care about losses like this anymore.
Not many people can do it like Trace McSorley, man. Nine had the it factor. The it factor can't be taught, man.
Yeah, put some respect on the greatest QB that's ever
For
come
real.
from Penn State.
Hey, Kenny, thanks for week 10. We'll see you in week 11. Have a great day. And I'm seeing the Fortnite stream, so I'm having a lot of fun on the game, too. Hope you are, too.
Hey, where we dropping, man? Hit me up. Let's go tear up
Hey,
Tilted.
100%. We'd love to get on the stream and play with you, man.
All right, see you, fellas. Always a pleasure, guys. Thank you.
All right,
Yeah,
okay.
100%. Ladies and gentlemen, founder of the Moonshot, our Monday guy, Kenny McAndrews.
Yes,
Wow, what
sir.
another solid week with the boy. We'll keep things pushing here. If you guys are tuned in here, make sure to drop a like, comment, and do not forget to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. And make sure to, our audio listeners, we do love and appreciate you. Sorry, checking the watch there. Apple Podcasts and Spotify, hit those ratings. They do help us a long, long way. I did not say at the beginning of the show.
Seamless transitions, my boy.
Seamless transitions, as usual. We'll keep it rolling here. The Texans, the CJ Stroud Texans, beat the Bengals in what an absolute stunner of a game, 30-27. Can we now put the respect, even more respect, on CJ Stroud? And can we now put him in possible MVP conversations? Is that what we're talking about with this rookie quarterback out of Ohio State? The Texans win a huge one against the Bengals, 30-27. And how about the run game? Let's start to talk about that. We were talking about the run game last week, doing this all without a run game. This week, Devin Singletary decides to put on a show and an absolute clinic, 30 carries, 150 yards, and a touchdowns. Go Texans, go. Did we think that the Texans were going to be above 500 at any point in this season? I personally didn't, and they're now 5-4.
Listen, I'm down for the CJ Stroud MVP talks. The one thing is that we just got to see the rest of the season. We got to keep on winning. But massive W right here. You got the Bengals coming in, rolling off the wins they've had. We talked about Joe Burrow last week, how he was doing. Now, I had a thought. I'm going to let y'all think about this yourselves, but just look at the CJ Stroud, Joe Burrow comp. I can see it this game a little bit. CJ Stroud was dotting it up, and Joe Burrow was doing his thing too. One thing I liked a lot on both sides when it came to the quarterback, they both had some turnovers in big moments. And they both came back and was doing their thing. Didn't phase them one bit. You can see how much this Texans offense, like you said, flows so much better when they have a running game. Singletary was eating off the one cuts, and it opened everything up. And even when it wasn't Singletary, they still had the reverse to Tank Dell and a couple of the versus other people too. The Tank Dell CJ Stroud connection is insane. Like I don't know how you stop that. And we were they're dead. Yeah, their dead is crazy. Their dead is crazy. I love that shit. And Noah Brown still gets busy too. We talked about him last week. We might have to add him to the lock list. I don't know. We watching you, Noah. This isn't necessarily like a bad loss if you're the Bengals, but how it happens just kills you because what the win could have did for you was a lot, and it just hurts. Like I don't know.
Would have been tied with the Browns and then one win out of the Ravens. What of running for that AFC North would have been. Let's talk about, like you touched on Noah Brown. I want to talk about Dalton Schultz as well. These are two receivers that led Houston in receiving at 172 and 71. Tank Dell that was just touched on as well was at 56 on the day. But those two receivers that led Houston were two receivers on the Dallas Cowboys last year. And now the connection that CJ has, I mentioned it last week to Kenny. These boys have some weapons down in Houston.
Yeah.
Noah Brown coming out of his shell. Dalton Schultz actually is like one of the favorite targets to look towards. And Dak only really looked at this guy in the red zone, in my opinion. Yeah. Tank Dell's that guy. And you still have the young gun himself, John Mechie. And oh, wait. They still have Robert Woods. There's so many targets and so many weapons here in Houston. This is just a crazy thought to even be talking about a Houston Texans team after they go to their quote-unquote rebuilding year and you get your rookie quarterback who's now in MVP talks, and this team is now above 500. I don't see it any other way for a franchise that has been dying for a good football team and have only had a good baseball team. Great win for Houston. All right, let's keep it rolling here. Another AFC North battle. The Steelers host the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love, great dot there to read.
Oh,
what an absolute
my God.
throw. But the Steelers knock off the Packers 23-19. Packers get a big win last week at home against the Rams. They travel this week on the road to Pittsburgh, and they do not get the job done. Let's talk about the running game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, I feel like you could just give anybody the ball and they would snap. You look at Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren carrying the running game for this team. And Kenny Pickett, you don't have to do a lot when your offensive line is feeding these guys to run the ball. 23-19 Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, this is one of those games where you just look at it. I'm pretty sure the over-under was 38.5. You just auto think this is way under. They come out to start touchdown. Like, what the hell is going on here? Jordan Love looks like prime Peyton Manning. Like you said with the Steelers, Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris. Like I was coming at Steelers fans for saying Jaylen Warren was better than Najee Harris, but now watching this game, I kind of see the vision. They both had it going, and these might have been the biggest holes I've ever seen opened up in Pittsburgh, like in the last 3-4 years. It was actually unbelievable. I'm so happy for all of them. Najee's got to stop trying to hurdle people who are standing up. Like, someone's going to just get up under with the helmet in the area that you don't want to get. Like, I don't know why he keeps doing that. Kenny Pickett low-key got that clutch factor with him.
I guess so.
We keep listen, because the 1 week he had the drive where it was like, and it wasn't a game-winning drive this week or anything like that in 2 minutes. But I'm just saying, making the plays in the fourth quarter, for some reason he just comes alive. Can find George, can find Deontay, make the plays. There was one play, it was like 3rd and 9, fourth quarter. I think there was about 3 minutes left. They were trying to up the clock. He can extend the run for 11 yards with his legs. Like, I'm starting to see the vision. Like, he doesn't need to do too much. If Mike Tomlin can just coach his ass off and take this ragtag team to 6-3, just all you got to do is take care of the ball, make a couple plays. It's weird because Packers fans want to lose games. Like, yeah. And if I'm a Packers fan, I want to lose games too. But this shit was just way too close for comfort. Like, if Jordan Love is a little bit more on point in the red zone, the one pick to Chris Watson was a force. Then obviously the pick at the end of the game, he had to throw it that way. But if he's a little bit better in the red zone, they probably win this game. And the Packers want to lose games. So I don't know how it's going to go up there. But at least he's looking more comfortable and they're getting busy because Dobbs, Reed, and Watson look good. He did cause Kenny, unfortunately, but
hey, where are all the Matt Canada haters now? The team's now 6-3. Where'd you guys go?
That's what I'm saying.
What happened?
That's what I'm saying.
Team 6-3. Matt Canada said, "You know what? I'm gonna come out of the booth. I'm gonna get on the field. And now we're winning games. Mm-hmm. I don't care that it's a Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't care that they don't match up with anybody else in their division. The team is 6-3, and they're winning football games. The Matt Canada haters,
somewhere.
What happened? Where'd you guys go?
We're going to make it out
until they start getting shit on again. We can start saying, Matt Canada this, Matt Canada that. But the team's winning. The team's winning games, so hop off. All right, real quick, we're going to touch on a Thursday night game, a sleeper, a snoozer, whatever kind of game you want to call it, or whatever kind of word that relates to the word sleep and boring. I don't know how we continue to get these dog shit primetime games, and they just keep giving us games where it's always going to be a primetime under. How many times?
What did Kenny say last week?
Now that they're now 23-7 primetime games. Actually, I shouldn't say that because of the Sunday night game. No, I should say that.
No,
yeah, I should. That's 28. So again, now we're at 24-7 on the year in primetime games. They're giving us these Thursday night games that are just dog shit, and you could even say the Sunday night games too. But 16-13 Bears, a lot of field goals, a lot of embarrassing play. And you look at the Panthers. I actually thought the Panthers were going to pull this one out.
Wow.
Bryce Young's still struggling a little bit. We're not going to really hone in too much on him, but Bajan gets the job done for the Bears. Again, you don't really have to say too much on this game. 16-13.
Yeah, I hit the group chat before this game and I said, "Listen, boys, I'm taking Bears -3 just to build character, just to become more of a man." And that's definitely what it did. First punt to the crib, yep. Bajan mistakes. We don't gotta get too much into it. We end up getting the -3 push. No other way it would go. There's no way you're winning a bet on this game. If you did, congratulations. That was disgusting. I hope you all got good rest during that game.
100%. We will now move to our Germany game. NFL Frankfurt games yesterday.
Why do they have to see that?
I mean, can we put some other games? We just went from a Kansas City Miami Dolphins game in that same stadium, and a week later we go to the Indianapolis Colts without Anthony Richardson and the Mac Jones New England Patriots. What an absolute boring shit show of a game we saw. And this one, Colts win this one 10-6. Mac Jones gets benched. Bailey Zappi with the terrible interception. Belichick is not happy about that. We saw the videos of Bill Belichick. Did you see him on the Ring camera? Like walk of shame type-esque type thing. I mean, this team is in shambles. We've known it. If I'm a Giants fan, I'd rather be laying in my sack of shit team than laying in that sack of shit team out of New England for sure. Yeah. So y'all can hate me for that one, but you know what? Colts, way to get a win in this long travel going to Germany. So you moved to 500 on the year, 10-6 Colts in Germany.
I like watching JT, and Gardner Minshew's been getting busy doing his thing. He found a little bit of some gold in the sack with Josh Downs down the field. But holy fuck, like,
what an embarrassment.
Mac Jones is bad. Can we conclude that?
Oh, man,
I mean, getting benched in the middle of the game like that, Bailey Zappi comes in, and Bailey Zappi actually looks better for a while. He does that pick, which is horrible, and then they pan to Bill Belichick, and he actually looks like, dude, like, when's the last time I've been 2-8? Why am I still going to this? I have to go to work on Monday with these guys. That's what his look was. Pray for Bill. We've been praying for Bill every week. We're gonna keep praying for you, but we putting hands on you, my guy.
Yeah, we're trying to feel. We're gonna have another walk of shame. I'll tell you what. Okay, over to the Cowboys and the Giants over at AT&T Stadium. The Cowboys win a absolute nuke of a game, 49-17 over the Giants. I mean, it was 24-0.
This was such a don't overthink it, and we overthought. I mean, I overthought it. I didn't
overthink it. I was telling everybody they're going to win by 40. Take Cowboys on the spread. Everyone bitching. This is too many points. Too many points. I mean, if you're a Giants fan, everybody knew. Everybody knew they were going to get killed in this game. As a Giants fan, you knew that.
Wait, did Tony Pollard get in the end zone? I don't think he got in the end zone.
No, Tony Pollard was one of the only. I mean, you could put a lineman that got in there.
FanDuel was eating steak dinners, getting strippers, doing blow off. Tony Pollard not getting the end zone, and Christian McCaffrey not getting the end zone. Good for FanDuel.
That's true. That's good for them. This is a team that is now, the Giants are now, in these 2 games against the Cowboys this season, outscored 89-17. You remember in week 1 at home at MetLife, 40-0 rout. And then now here 9 weeks later,
at least we scored
49-17. Tommy DeVito, first game as a starter, undrafted Syracuse quarterback. Parents are there. Call him weird fourth and 3 plays. I don't know if you remember that. Why run the ball there? This line sucks. Why run the ball? The defense really tried to keep him in the game early, and we saw that. That was the only chance they were going to have. Would have liked to see how they would have been able to pressure if they would have scored in the red zone there. You got the ball at the 12-yard line after the interception, and you can't score. And that just kind of sums up the season already. This team has just been put in good spots to score points, and they consistently cannot do that. You look at my favorite play from this year of not being able to get in the end zone at halftime against the Bills on Sunday Night Football. Just laughable. This team really is. Brian Daboll, I do believe wholeheartedly that you will not be quarterback of the New York Football Giants at the end of this year. I understand you're getting not a lot to work with, but hey, man, like the stuff that you are able to control, you got to be able to control. This was a game that we knew you were going to get killed, and you did. Dak Prescott showing that the Cowboys are a scary team when they played the bad teams. When they play the good teams, not so much.
Listen, we can't. I understand with Giants fans, we want to see some competition, but we can't tweak. We're handling business. We're losing games, baby. We got sweepstakes to win.
I'm telling you, Caleb Williams.
Man, we got sweepstakes to win.
Caleb Williams is probably going to be a Giants quarterback.
Do you? My thing is, so I'm kind of. Maybe I might be blind because of the things that happened to Caleb Williams, but I wouldn't sleep on Drake May.
Dude, I don't know what it is about me and ACC quarterbacks. Like, is he?
Daniel Jones ACC too. Y'all might want to get away from that, huh?
Can he fit in this offense? Like, you look at both of these guys, and I said this last week. Both of these guys have competent offensive lines where they have plenty of time to get the ball out. Sure, they have to be mobile and get out and make some clutch throws on the run. And sure, both of them do that. But it's not going to be a walk in the park like we're seeing with CJ Stroud. Okay? When you look at this offensive line, you guys are going to get banged up early and often every single game. So can you guys adapt to this offensive line? And are the Giants ready to adapt to a whole new culture and basically blowing up the team? Saw what Victor Cruz said this week in his comments. You guys need to do a restart. Blow the team up.
I'm so down.
So I think Joe Shane's going to stay. I know he's boys with Brian Daboll. I don't know after this year you can really keep him. But again, that would be a terrible look. You know, a guy that wins Coach of the year prior. Team wins a playoff game. Team makes the playoffs and wins the playoff game. And next year you're 2-8 after 10 games, and you're looking to draft a whole new quarterback, and you might be getting rid of the coach. Let's also think about this. This is a funny stat for me. In 10 games of football this year for the New York Football Giants, they're 2-8, and I have seen one of those 2 wins. Wow. That's just crazy. Wow. Like, the luck on my part to actually see a win live. You know? I think I'm just gonna have to go there again.
You might need to rip the next game where the Giants money line's like juicy, and we just have to get system.
Or we just don't go and have them lose, and then they get a better draft pick. I'm not a fan of tanking at all. I want to root for my team, but I'm just getting laughable at this point, man.
Football is rough. Like,
look, when you get to the last, and I said it last week, the last 3 games of the year, 2 of them are against the Eagles.
Fuck it.
We know Hurts going to get benched.
Yeah,
like,
win that.
He might be benched for 2 of them for both games. So maybe they'll win a scrap time 1. But, I'm not the guy that's going to fight, trying to stick up for this Giants team. Like, we all know what it really is. Like, just wake up and reassess yourself if you're going to try to stick up for this team right now. Okay, moving on here to the Buccaneers. The NFC South getting very, very sweaty with the Saints losing yesterday and the Buccaneers winning. Will Levis loses again. Back-to-back away games lost. The Titans now moved to 3-6 on the year. 20-6 do the Buccaneers go with a Rachaad White very, very running back, like, grueling game for him. Tried to pick him up in most fantasy leagues. Wasn't able to be successful with that. But he was able to get into the end zone yesterday. And a solid fantasy back at that. 20-6 Buccaneers over the Tennessee Titans.
Twitter and the internet was getting loud on Will Levis. But, like, if you really look how it's set up, the Buccaneers have been tough on young quarterbacks this year and tough on quarterbacks in general. And they shut down Derek.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't tripping on Will Levis like that. This was a tough game for him. This is a big get for the Bucs. And low-key, you were talking about Rachaad White. He's becoming one of my favorite players in the league, bro. I just like his running style. He gets out the backfield a lot. This could be a fried comparison. I understand he's faster than him, but I see a little bit of Lev Bell out there sometimes with the sleeves, the way he runs up right a little bit, work out the backfield. He hits the hill a little faster than Lev Bell, but he's been a huge piece for them. Mike Evans just keeps eating, bro. Just keeps eating. He catches passes, runs people over. He's carrying people into the end zone. Like, Mike Evans needs to get a statue outside the Buccaneers Stadium, I think. I think he's just that dude, bro. I don't think we've been sleeping on Mike because he's just been at that level of elite for his whole career that it's easy to be like, oh, yeah, Mike Evans, of course he's going to do this. But, I mean, god damn. Like, he's just one of those. He's got to be a legend in our generation.
Let's remember, though, earlier in this year, first couple weeks of the season, we were talking about possibly seeing Mike Evans in another uniform outside of a Buccaneers uniform. And he's stayed with it, stuck to his gut, producing, and is continuing to produce. I mean, I also think we can shine a little bit of light on Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I mean, he's hooping.
Like, just
perfect spot for him.
I was just going to say, he's put in a great position for him to
gritty team,
kind of keep bouncing back in his career.
Doesn't have to make too many plays with his arm, but he has to make the few, get out the, like, I love Baker in Tampa Bay, you're right.
And you talk about a guy in a system, in a good spot, that's Brock Purdy. Big game in this 49ers blowout of the Jaguars in Jacksonville, 34-3. Although Christian McCaffrey does not keep his streak of 17 straight games in the end zone, Brock Purdy, Brandon Ayuk, and this 49ers team absolutely rout the Jaguars. 2 teams above their division, on top of their division. And just a fun game to watch. 49ers really needed this win after the bye, losing 3 straight. This was a big get-back moment, get-back game for them, and they do exactly that.
I'm not, like, listen, my people down Duval, I am tripping we didn't have this game too competitive, but we got to be realistic. This is a huge get-right spot. Them motherfuckers just got Chase Young, bro. Did you see them 2 out there?
Yeah, dude.
Are you?
They're crazy.
So we doing all this to get to sack Jalen Hurts?
The Ohio State boys.
Jalen Hurts in the sprained MCL. We doing all this to tackle him now? That's what we doing. Like, they have the most old. This is some Madden Ultimate Team shit they got going on.
I can't wait to see them play the Eagles and
Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson, Chase Young,
you Bosa.
Nah, you're not wrong, but yo, my fault, Brock. We was getting loud on you. Look, really good. But the one, he had some fried throw, though. The touchdown to Ayuk. Like, can he just never do that ever again? I don't know where he gets that.
I have Ayuk in the league. So that was
you.
Let it happen. Let it happen.
He said, let it happen. If you had Christian McCaffrey, ATD, you and Kyle Shanahan got to go get a beer. Like, he had all y'all, man. He was trying to do what he wanted to, but at the end of the day, FanDuel was throwing a party. Christian Kirk was getting it moving and grooving. They shut down Calvin Ridley big time. And that was really the story. I don't think that's really why the Jaguars could get it pushing. And obviously, the pass rush had Trevor Lawrence in hell. I'm not tripping too bad if I'm a Jaguars fan. We can see what we have going on in the stretch, but we're still in a good position. This was a huge get-right spot for the 49ers. I'm not tripping. This is a good get-right spot for the 49ers. We can keep, we're going to get good film from this for the Jaguars. We got slammed. But we're going to improve all this. I'm not tripping if I'm a Duval.
No, and again, both of these teams fighting for their division.
100%.
As you now know, the Seahawks, which we'll
George
get
Kittle, George Kittle with the little toe to the end zone. Hey, he was getting,
I mean, but for
one of them ones.
NFC West, I mean, now the Seahawks are tied with 49ers at 6-3. So that was a huge win for them to get.
And we'll get to the Seahawks because they fucking.
We will get to the Seahawks in 2 games, actually. We'll now move to the Falcons visiting the Kyler Murray Arizona Cardinals.
What's up,
we say goodbye to Joshua Dobbs. Kyler Murray comes out of Call of Duty injury timeout And
Probably grinding.
he probably was grinding in Modern Warfare 3. Cardinals win this one 25-3. Kyler Murray's unbelievable athleticism looked like he ran over 80 yards on that play, was able to bypass the third down, get the first down, set them up for that game-winning field goal. The athletes back on this team, we need to see more of it, and we'll look to keep those Arizona Cardinal fans happy with their quarterback decision, especially after the signing. Good win for the Cardinals and good win for Kyler getting back here, 25-23.
Listen, my fault, Kyler. I was saying no one can get the Cardinals lit like Josh Dobbs can. You come back, and we're beating teams that are in the playoff race. Like, let's keep it a buck. Like, they really are in that race. We have to keep an eye on Trey McBride now.
Facts.
Is that his guy? Is that who he was playing Call of Duty with when he was injured? As soon as he gets back in the thing, it's like we're going right to Trey every time. So we're going to look at you for the lock list. Thank you, Arthur. Thank you. Look who got 22 carries. Look who got almost 100 yards. And look who got in the end zone.
Dude.
Now, we didn't win. Is that Arthur Smith's argument? Is that we didn't win and we gave him the ball 22 times?
Do you think he heard all the noise?
Did he hear the noise? Did you see the one press conference he had?
Yep.
This guy went on for 5 minutes trying to explain why. Like, he looked like he was trying to explain a moving chest the way he was trying to explain why I didn't give Bijan Robinson the ball. He heard the noise. He's probably killing his son. Was probably yelling, Bijan. Getting the ball 22 times. Didn't equate to the win because we kind of got Kyler Murray. Like you said, the one play was unbelievable, and you see why he's that dude. Good for them. This is a bad loss here, a Falcons fan, though. Like, this is why you put those pieces on the defense. We think we have guys in place to get stops like that, to put us in position to get games like that, put us in the playoff race, and we just don't get it. Like, I don't know.
How many times do we have to talk about this Falcons team with just grueling losses?
Is Arthur Smith counting his days?
I don't know. I don't know if we go that far. I think what would help his case is if he started to utilize his running back more like he did this week. He did this week. All right, moving over now. We got 2 games to go in our Week 10 slate. The Commanders visiting 12 Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. 29-26 loss for the Commanders. Here's a stat that I want to read from NFL Rookie Watch on Twitter. Sam Howell did lose, but we could start talking about the franchise quarterback for the Commanders. This is again from NFL Rookie Watch on Twitter. Howell is now leading the entire NFL in passing yards at 2,783. He's leading the entire NFL in passing completions at 264 and is tied for 3rd in the entire league in passing touchdowns at 17. Now, again, yesterday against the Seahawks defense, he was 29 for 44, 312 passing yards, and 3 touchdowns with a 109.3 passer rating. Look at this guy, man. We touched on it last week. Ron Rivera said earlier in this offseason and beginning of this year,
said it in the
found
offseason?
Our guy.
We said it in the offseason?
We said it in the offseason too, and you look at what Rivera said. I should have trusted my gut. I should have trusted him, put him in later last season instead of not and going with and riding the wave of Taylor Heineke. But just a fun game to watch here and even funner performance. I know that's not a word, but a funner performance here for Sam Howell and what this team actually has and what they found out of this quarterback.
Congratulations to whoever had Brian Robinson first touchdown and whoever had Brian Robinson all receiving yards.
Yeah, like who's having that?
2 extremely fried bets, but I know someone's sitting there smiling right now listening to the show. This was a big gift for the Seahawks. First half, we're 9-9. We're down 6-9. We put together a drive to tie 9-9. It's looking slow. Geno don't look too good. The running game isn't really moving the way it should. It wasn't really moving the way it should the rest of the day, even though in the second half it was a little more productive, which helped us get more points on the board. But it's a clutch W because if we lose this game for the Seahawks, damn, because it's the position we were in to start. The teams that are getting W's now, we needed this one. We get a clutch performance out of Geno Smith to come down the stretch, and like, I don't know. Like, Geno's gotten his flowers last year, obviously, but I just love what he's been doing with this team because there was a point where, like, DK with the Russ thing, he didn't look like he was that great of a teammate. You thought they're going to split that up maybe. They all look balled in. They're doing their thing. He's hitting them every single week. There's no argument going on. Everything looks cohesive. Pete Carroll's old as hell, still winning games. Doesn't look anywhere near as stressed out as Bill Belichick. So I'm happy with what we're doing. We're the Seahawks. Big W, clutch W, because that is, I mean, goddamn. If they lost this game, I'm almost very confident they could choke a playoff spot.
Hey, I mean, imagine what this Commanders team would look like at 5-5.
Shoot.
You know, I mean, that's still possible point to kind of.
And thank you for shining light on Sam Howell because I think someone said we were tripping for saying the Commanders receiving core is better than the Cowboys. Like, bro, we see it every single week, bro. They all eat. All 3 of them eat. And Sam Howell continues to find them. And that's insane. He's leading the yards.
It is unbelievable. I don't think a lot of people really could even picture that.
On a Commanders team, by the way.
That's what I mean. 100%. So you look at the Commanders too, now 4-6. still at the possibility of making the playoffs and being in the hunt for it. So
I mean, you can't write them
it'll
off.
be a fun next couple weeks for the Commanders and what this NFC East is going to look like. 3 of those 4 teams have a real good shot to make the playoffs. Obviously, let's take the Eagles out, possibly take out the Cowboys, but really, especially for this Commanders team. All right, over to our last game of the Week 10 slate, and I'm already smiling ear to ear because I got shit on last week by a lot of people in the comment sections on Instagram and a lot of our social media platforms as the Raiders beat the Jets 16-12. For those of you that didn't see the post, I did get shit on because I was, talking a lot about the cigar smoking after beating the now 2-7, but now this week 2-8 New York Football Giants. Obviously, I did know that the reason was a whole culture change. But again, it's the fucking Giants, okay? So I was really hoping that the Jets could win this game so I could fire back at a lot of those people and say, hey, Zach Wilson, bring out the cigars. Unfortunately, not the case. Raiders get this one. And Antonio Pierce, AP, hey, 2-0. You're creating a different culture. You look about a month ago, what Devontae Adams was doing against the Lions on Monday Night Football, throwing his helmet, really frustrated. And now you look about a month later, team goes back-to-back wins. Team's excited again. There's some life on this team. And you know what? Maybe at the end of the year, we take that interim head coach tag off of AP. And
you know what I'm saying?
Make him HC. You know what I'm saying?
That has to make you feel good.
100%.
Giants guy.
I don't think half those guys in that fucking comment section knew that he was a former Giant, though.
No,
you know what I mean?
Hell no. If they just listen to the show, you just hear Harris talk about right after, why they could have possibly been smoking cigars. But that's just the comments for you.
And that's also just great on us for the marketing of the clip.
You know what I'm saying? But, I like that AP's getting his, people are seeing him, guys like him, D'Amico Ryans, that guys that were really quarterbacks on a lot of defenses, really good defenses that didn't really get the praise for it because they're just brute middle linebacker type of guys. I mean, listen, as much as he's a player's coach, you got to draw up the schemes and get guys in position. This was a whole different looking team with Josh McDaniels. You don't really think they get tough, gritty W's like this. Now, I know it's a Zach Wilson-led, backup quarterback-led Jets team, but this Jets team has made a bunch of games close, beat a lot of good teams, and it's shown they can make games tough. And you would actually think going into this game, oh shit, new coach, the Jets might be able to get right here. AP has this whole thing different. I love when I watch teams. I talked to you about this, I feel like last year when I was telling you about I love betting teams when they switch coaches. And it's just, I don't know, that first 2 or 3 week honeymoon phase, it's going to be lit. Now, I talked about the honeymoon phase. Can we take a look at their schedule? You was already, my fucking boy. So the honeymoon phase is great, right? But where do they go next week?
In Miami. Look at this next 4 games. Wow, next 5 games are actually brutal for the Las Vegas Raiders. We go in Miami next week in week 11. Week 12, they're home against the Chiefs. Week 13, they're home against the Vikings. Josh Dobbs. Week 13 is that's 11, 12, 13, 14. So week 14 is now home against the Chargers, and then week 15 is in Kansas City. Can we call the team dead? Yeah, we can do that.
I mean, if we can,
I'm not saying that in a bad way though.
Can they get 2 wins here? Is it even possible?
Man. Again,
I don't know if they can beat Josh Dobbs.
Hey, but
I don't know if they can beat Josh Dobbs.
That could probably be their only win though, because if you look at it, remember what we always say about divisional matchups? They're always just harder games.
At the crib,
you would think that they would have a better shot against the Chargers. We know they're getting swept by the Chiefs, and if the Dolphins want to really have a huge shot of winning this game, or winning the division, then they're at home.
And now
after the bye,
I hate it because now the Dolphins aren't sleeping on them.
Yeah.
Because now the Dolphins are probably... this is ugly, bro.
Dolphins, Chiefs,
enjoy
Vikings,
y'all honeymoon
Chargers,
phase.
Chiefs.
The honeymoon phase was lit. I hope y'all got it in.
Goodbye.
I hope y'all saw all the tough hotels, the tourist spots. Hope y'all had some fun. I hope y'all did your own thing at the honeymoon because that shit
Devontae Adams, you had your fun now. Now it is. No, we might see Devontae Adams pushing another cameraman after this 4 weeks.
No, he might be. He might be happy. The Raiders players might be happy. I'm talking more so Raiders fans. They talking all this shit in the comment section.
Raiders
cigars,
crazy.
Yeah, get the honeymoon phase over.
Goodbye.
You know what I'm saying? It's over.
You know what? All right, guys, that wraps up week 10 of football. Already looking to week 11.
Our Monday
what we
night
have in
shit.
store for week 11 is the Super Bowl rematch. The Philadelphia Eagles will be taking on the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead.
Oh, wait.
Travis Kelce coming back.
Is that prime time?
That is prime time. It's Monday night.
We have one good prime time game.
We have one good primetime game. Travis Kelce coming back from his concert with attending Taylor Swift's
Yo, Taylor, don't slide. Taylor, do not slide. You good, shorty? You good? Yo, you heard about? You don't want to mess with. You good? You good? You don't want to mess with us. You good? Don't slide.
She's
don't
on the
slide.
tour. A lot of people were.
Oh, she's on tour.
She's on the tour.
Oh,
because that's where Kelsey went. Kelsey, I think he went to Germany to go see her. I'm not confident or correct on that. I forget where he went, but he went to go visit her. She changed one of the lyrics on the song, and it was like, "Karma is the guy on the Chiefs." And it's like that's coming home to me.
That's kind of a bar, but that's.
But she changed the lyric of the song.
That's kind of a bar.
And then he like met her at the.
I saw that
Edmonds
clip.
go crazy, bro. It's just hilarious.
I saw that clip.
Week 10 is over. We will see you in week 11. If you saw this podcast and this episode on YouTube, make sure to drop a like, comment, and do not forget to hit that subscribe button so you're not missing out on any new podcasts and videos this NFL football season on our audio platforms, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Make sure to give us those ratings. They do help us a very, very long way for our audio platforms. And if you want to connect with us on all our social media platforms, our Twitter is ADED Podcast. Our Instagram is ADED Pod. And our TikTok is simply the name of the show, The All Day Everyday Show. What a fun week 10 it's been. You will see Kenny next week for week 11 after the Penn State-Michigan discussion there. Happy to have you guys here for week 10. You've been listening and watching to The All Day Everyday Show with All Day AJ and Manny Ruffin. We will see you in week 11. And maybe Taylor Swift will be in attendance for that Kansas City game.
Don't slide, T. If you're gonna slide, come see me. My fault, Travis.
Yo, hit the bar.
I'm just trying to do me on the beat. It's the ADED pod and we sliding out for sure. Have a good week.